Hey guys, how we doing? Matt back here again with an impromptu Tuesday night stream. Basically, I was painting the Starblood Stalkers and thought, may as well stick it on the stream as well. So if you're watching this back, thanks for joining us. So yeah, we managed to make a good start on these last time, and I've managed to last night just catch up and touch up a few details on them, get some washes down. So pretty happy with how they're looking so far. So the plan for tonight's stream is get some highlights on these guys really. So yeah, they're looking okay. Pretty happy with how they're looking. They're really nice models. So highly recommend picking it up if you are an Underworlds fan. Like I said in the last stream, it's a nice different looking warband to paint up, because we've not had any Seraphim before in Warhammer Underworlds, and yeah, really like how these guys look. So yeah, it's been great fun painting them up. We've started on some kind of base colours, and like I say, I've got some washes down on most of the textures. Base is just a grey and a wash over it. We'll work on that later on, but if I can get the skin done on most of these tonight, I think that'd be pretty good going. But yeah, pretty happy with how they turned out so far. So yeah, plan tonight is we're going to highlight up the flesh first, I think, then work on the scales on the back. The gold needs highlighting, and then yeah, see how we go. We don't know how long I'll stream for, a couple of hours maybe, but we'll see how they look. One of those, thought may as well stick this on in the background if anybody does want to join and watch paint some stuff. That'd be really ace, guys. So, got a really nice colour, Baharoth blue. I'm planning on just starting to paint up the highlights with this. So let's see how this goes. I'm not planning on doing too many highlights on these guys. I've kind of airbrushed in the base colour first, and then gone in with a wash. So just a couple of highlights on the kind of most prominent areas, and I think we'll be looking pretty good. Got a little mission this year to try and get each of the Warhammer Underworlds warbands painted up as they are released. So we're super lucky to get the Starblood Stalkers to review, which is over on the website if you're interested, www.spruesandbrews.com. and I've kind of gone through some of the cards and the warband itself, and yeah, they are pretty tasty. Really cool warband, and I'm looking forward to playing some games with them. But yeah, what we're doing here is just going around and starting to pick out some of the sharper edges just for some highlights. And once we've done all the highlights, we shouldn't be looking too bad really. Hey, how we going, Betimo? Cheers. Yeah, they've been really fun painting them up. How are you doing today? Have you are you painting much yourself? They're really nice models to paint up. I think that's one of the cool things about Underworlds, that if you don't want to commit to a full army, you can just pick up one of these sets and yeah, get a little taster of something different, which is cool. Do you play any Underworlds, Patimo? Have you been working on any of the recent warbands? They've got some really cool stuff this season. Yeah, like I say, I want to try and do each of them. I think that'd be a fun little project to do. A more achievable New Year's resolution to get done anyway. You know, because I don't know when we're going to be able to play games again. But yeah, they're really characterful models, cool little faces. Busy painting some gut Troggoths after my squigs at the minute. Cool. I do really fancy a squig and Troggoth base force. I was very tempted to pick up the battle box they did over Christmas, where you got a load of squigs and a load of Troggoths. I didn't in the end. I resisted and picked up the Chaos one. But yeah, that is something I've always been tempted to look at, because I think they'd be really fun to paint. How you finding them? Speaking of squigs, I really want to paint up that new 40k Orc Squig Rider unit thing. They look a bit cool. So yeah, on these guys, basically we're just trying to move that camera a little bit for you. Pick out kind of some of the sharper details on the raised areas, just to try and yeah, get some different textures in there. Build up the. He's got quite a characterful face on him, so just try and get some of those sharper details painted in to build that up. Really fun to paint, to be honest. Good to practice blending on the chest. So that's cool. Yeah, I've not painted any of them myself yet. That is something on my to-do list. Unfortunately, my to-do list of stuff that I want to paint is really, really long. I mean, this room is already filled with many models, and it'd get to ridiculous levels if I gave in and picked up every project. I think my next project I'm going to be picking up is the vampires for Age of Sigmar. Obviously, Cursed City is out soon. I'm hoping that's up for pre-order in the next couple of weeks. Andy Woods saying, looking good. Cheers, Andy. Thanks for joining us today. So the base colour on these was Temple Guard Blue. So I used Temple Guard Blue Air to get the kind of base colour down on them. I washed them down with, what was it? Coelia Green Shade even. And then I've just started building up with Baharoth Blue. Just kind of winging it. If you've got the Citadel Paint app, they have some kind of selected, suggested colour schemes for, you know, lizard men, seraphon, whatever you want to call them. So I've kind of based it on those. I know Nick Baton from Warhammer TV's put up a painting guide for this warband today, but, you know, as we're already halfway through them, I'll carry on with my winging it. Andy says 2 streams in 1 week. Christmas does come twice a year. Yeah, well, I thought, Andy, I may as well, if I'm painting, just stick the stream on, and then I can have a chat with you guys while I'm painting. So, yeah, we are dual streaming to both Twitch and YouTube. So, whichever platform you prefer, yeah, we're on there. We just thought, we did previously just stream to YouTube, but we had quite a few people on Twitter mentioning that, you know, they like watching stuff on Twitch, so we had the technology, so yeah, we now stream to both locations. So if you are watching from one platform and confused as who I'm speaking to, both chat feeds can come through and I can see them. At the minute, I don't think you're able to see chat from the other platform, but that might be something I can look at and get sorted. So Andy, what are you working on at the minute? You've been getting a fair bit of hobby done yourself, Andy. Oh man, these models are so nice. Really, really cool looking guys. Nice characterful sculpts. Again, that's focusing a bit better now, isn't it? Yeah, I've been experimenting with a few different mounts for the camera over the last couple of streams as well. Yeah, on Saturday, it was a little one, nice little one, didn't take up much space and just clamped to the desk, but it kind of got in the way a little bit. So I've got the big one out again, and hopefully this should hold the focus a bit better now. Last 10 Nobilis Flight Ogres, excellent. You know what, Andy? I've still got a box of what was it called? Feast of Bones. Two lots of the ogres from Feast of Bones. I really need to carry on with the rest of my my ogre force. That's another one I want to kind of build up, because I found it really fun army to play with. It's all about the ogres, isn't it? Bettina, how do you find the airbrush blue? Do you use a zenithal prime or just cover it all over? Ooh, crikey. So normally I will prime it Vallejo black, and then there's a Vallejo light grey that I do a kind of zenithal pre-highlight with, I guess. And then, yeah, then work from there. On these guys, off the top of my head, I think I just sprayed them grey sear, I think. Just because I had some in the cupboard, and it meant I could just get them primed on my lunch one day last week. So yeah, so just grey sear, and then I put on a coat of Temple Guard blue, Citadel aware through that, and it goes on to fine. I use a drop of Flow Improver, just makes it stop kind of clogging the needle, and yeah, sometimes the airbrush can get a bit narky, but yeah, I found Citadel layer stuff fine. And then the rest of the colours, combination of Citadel and Instar paints, predominantly using Water Plus to dilute them. And then yeah, just been working through them. So we streamed for a couple of hours last, when was it, Andy? Sunday. Streamed on Sunday. Getting some of the base colours down, just blocking out some of the areas. And then yeah, I spent a little bit of time last night just tidying them up a little bit, getting them ready for the next stream. And then after work, basically just kind of blocked in the bases with grey, put a brown wash on, just so, I don't know about you guys, but I find it, if I do the bases at least to a, you know, battle standard ready first, it just helps me visualise the rest of the model. You know, sometimes they can look like they're sticking out a little bit if they're just on a, you know, an unpainted base. So yeah, I always tend to do that. And then yeah, just thought we'd do some highlighting while chatting to you guys. But yeah, they're really nice models. My mission is to get them all painted, all of the Underworlds Warband. So I think the next one that's out off the top of my head are the vampires. I think they're out next month, are they? And then yeah, after that, what have we got? We've got the Uruks, we've got the Bone Reapers, and I think there's a Ideneth Deepkin Warband coming out. So yeah, looking forward very muchly to getting some paint on them all, and then playing some games. Andy, have you played any Underworlds? You up for some games when the world comes back to normal? That does seem like a good club night activity, doesn't it? Playing some Underworlds. Don't need much space. Just get some little tables on the go. Seems a plan to me. Let's just highlight these fingers. So not being too precious about the highlights on here. I'm not going to highlight them another step over this, just because I find it quicker. Find they look fine with just the base colour, put in the wash and then the single highlight. It should be fine. I know some people will go multiple highlights. Really just want these looking good for the tabletop. But Timo, you should definitely do ogres with an airbrush. I've done mine and it's great to blend skin tones. Yeah, that's a really good idea. So I've done some Sons of Bahamut with an airbrush and they were really fun to do. So yeah, I could easily transfer the same kind of scheme to the ogres. I've got an ogre army that I painted. It's from Warhammer Fantasy, the world that was. Painted them a long time ago. So I suppose the tough part is trying to get the scheme to match my my existing army. But that should be fine. Worst case, if there's a bit of variance, it doesn't really matter. Andy, I love Underworlds. Last time I played it was Beastgrave. Yeah, I don't think we actually managed to get many games of Beastgrave in. I mean, certainly Direchasm, with the pandemic and everything, I'm dying to play some games, but we've not been able to yet. I'll definitely be using these fellas though, because they're really good. I think they're going to be quite powerful on the tabletop. Lots of movement shenanigans, lots of ways to kind of shut down enemy movement, loads of kind of reactions that you can do a push to. So yeah, these guys are going to be really frustrating to play against, so yeah, should be a bit of fun. Ogres, says Andy. Yeah. We could do it. We could do a tale of 4 ogres, Andy. Very ogre themed painting log. I suppose the sad thing is we're probably not going to see any new ogres for a while, are we? We had the battle tome not too long ago. And that tyrant was really nice. I'd love them to do a new butcher in that kind of style. Speaking of ogres, though, there are some ogres in the Cursed City box, aren't there? The bodyguards of the big kind of main vampire are ogres, and the vampire himself is a vampire ogre. I mean, that is clearly the best thing ever. You can't go wrong with a vampire ogre. Well, unless you've got on the wrong side of him. So yeah, just slowly working around, picking out all these edges. And then really, once we've done all that, we shouldn't have too much to do. And then we'll give him a bit of a varnish. And yeah, the warband should be ready to hit the tabletop then. Apologies if you can hear a noise, it's me hitting this camera stand, I'm afraid. Andy, give me a new butcher. Yes, butchers all the way. There was company, I forget the name now, Atlantis Minis. Really cool. They do some really nice ogre sculpts. Obviously, if you're going to a Games Workshop event, you know you'd have to use GW Minis. But if you're happy with kind of generic non-GW figures, the Atlantis ones are really nice and characterful. They did a Kickstarter that I think was pretty successful, and I believe the Atlantis guys are now doing print on demand as well, where you can download the files to print your own. So I think that's something I might have to add to the wish list at some point, a 3D printer. Do you know any of you guys had any experience printing minis and painting them? This guy's getting there. Right, let's start highlighting this big fella. Again, I'm really just picking out the kind of most raised details. How's that? That looks better, doesn't it? Just the sharpest edges to kind of build up those kind of ridges on the skin. I've not painted any lizardmen, seraphon, whatever you want to call them, for a long time. So yeah, this is quite fun painting up something different. I think Dave said on the previous stream, technically they are demons. So yeah, maybe that's why I've got an affinity for them. If you don't know, I'm a bit of a chaos player. I do enjoy the ruinous powers and painting up demons. In particular, really looking forward to seeing what we get for Be'lakor and his gorgeous new model. I'm hoping we get a new kind of like mixed demon Grand Alliance for Age of Sigmar. So being able to take an old school mixed demon force like we used to get in Warhammer Fantasy, because technically you can take that in Age of Sigmar, but I don't think it's necessarily the most competitive choice. So it'd be nice to be able to take a proper demon army, and presumably we're going to get a new demon codex for 40k at the same time. I think that's probably a given. I say that though, they could well introduce him in one of the Warzone Garadon supplements. Which, if you want to find out what we think of the current one that's up for pre-order at the minute, as I'm streaming, that should be appearing on Spotify and iTunes as we speak. Dave's probably furiously uploading that, and give it an hour or two, post should be up on the website with the latest episode. I think it's going to be a bit of a chunky episode this time as well, because we cover, also we had the preview seminar the other day, we've had the Drakari Codex to look at, and the Warzone supplement as well. So yeah, big old episode. It's been pretty fun. Andy, can you still buy the older Underworld Warband cards? So I think you can only get Beastgrave and Direchasm. I'm fairly certain that the other ones have been phased out now. Yeah, I think you can buy the models to use in AOS, but the actual set with the cards for those older ones, I don't think you can get them anymore. Basically, they kind of refresh every season and get rid of the oldest set. So yeah, sadly, I think those older ones are now gone, which is a shame. But you never know; they might come back in another form, or they might do some kind of I don't know, compendium card set with just the upgrade cards. I suppose the thing is that only the last couple of seasons cards are still legal for like match play. Anything older than that you can't really use in a match play game. For the warbands themselves, they are still technically legal, but yeah, they do phase them out eventually. So it is worth picking them up if you're interested. So the time to do that as well is when they bring out the new season, is when they tend to phase out the old ones. So if if you are after them, it's probably around about then that you want to get them. What warband were you after, Andy? The deck building's always scared me off Underworld. The models are amazing. I just don't know how to do card games. So I'm just going to pause a second here because in the latest couple of seasons I've done something really cool. And you know what? I haven't got the cards to hand. Have I got them within grabbing distance somewhere? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So with the Starblood Stalkers, you get a load of cards. So obviously you get your kind of your warband we're used to fight with, and then you get 2 decks of cards. So where are we? So you get a load of universal cards that you can use in any warband. So if you picked up one of the other ones this season, these are various cards that you can add to the deck, and there's some really cool stuff in here as well. So they kind of come as a separate sealed deck within it. You also get a kind of pre-made sealed deck for the warband that you've picked up. So you could just buy this and just use this deck to play your games. Now, you know, if you're going to tournaments and stuff, no doubt you'll customise this deck a little bit and maybe swap out some of the cards. You know, there might be objective cards that you've got from the starter box or from other warbands that you want to swap in. But this is a fully working kind of deck out the box, so you can just play with this Bettino. And you know, while I'm learning how the warband works, I'll certainly be doing that. So yeah, I wouldn't let it put you off. If you pick up the latest starter box, Direchasm, what you'll do is get 2 warbands as well. So you'll get all the cards and tokens and dice and all the stuff that you need to play. You'll get 2 warbands. So you've got the Dread Pageant, which is a Slaneshi warband, and you will get Mayari's Purifiers, who are a Lumineth Realm Lords warband. And you will get 2 decks like that, pre-made, that you can just use out of the box. And then you'll get an assortment of upgrade cards. So what you can do then is just play a few games with each warband. Whoops. See which one kind of fits your playing style. See how the cards work, and then pick up one of the other boxed warbands and give them a go. I think off the top of my head, the individual warbands are about £25. I may be wrong there. I'm fairly certain these are. So you get the miniatures and you get all the cards. So you don't have to worry about, straight off the bat anyway, creating your own deck. And then once you've got more comfortable with the games and kind of learn what the cards do, then you're at the point where you can start introducing other cards and working out how your deck works, because there's a lot of, I suppose it's simple to learn, but there's a lot of kind of synergy and stuff to master. But if you're playing casually, there's no reason why you can't just use that pre-made deck. I've certainly done it before. I'm by no means a Warhammer Underworlds pro. It's a really good multiplayer game as well. So when we tend to play, we tend to do 3 or 4 player games, and it works really well at that level, which is cool because not all games do. Best way to describe it, I guess, is a combination of Warhammer meets a board game meets a collectible card game. But like I say, you don't have to worry about that collectible element if you don't want to and you just want to use those starter decks. That, I'd say, that is absolutely fine. And that's probably the best way to kind of learn how the warband works anyway, because that pre-constructed deck will be kind of teaching you the ropes about it. So yeah, I think there's been a couple of decent podcasts on Warhammer community as well, so head out there and I'm sure some pro players can give some pointers on how the game works properly. But it is loads of fun. I thoroughly enjoy playing it. So now it doesn't take long to play a game as well. It's quite fast paced, so you can get a couple of games in it a night. So yeah, it's definitely a fun one to play with some friends. And I suppose it'll appeal to some kind of non-Warhammer players as well, because you've got some familiar elements. You've got a board, you've got dice, you've got kind of the deck of cards, and once you get your head around that, it's yeah, it's pretty quick and easy to pick up. Andy said about £20 from Element. Yeah. So they're pretty good value, I'd say. I certainly enjoy playing it. Right, well I think we're nearly there with the blue now, guys. We're getting there. I'm hoping by the end of the stream we might have a lot of these highlights down. And I think what I'm going to do next is just touch up the kind of dark colour on his back first, because there's a few bits where, I don't know if you can see there, the paint's kind of chipped off a little bit. So we're going to touch them up. We'll probably go through the gold and highlight that, and then by the time we've done that, that'll be dry for us to start highlighting this up as well then. So yeah, so he is pretty much there. So let's move on to the final guy, and he's like the leader of the warband. And again, a really nice model. So get some paint out. Again, we'll just start building up the highlights on this chap. Again, really nice model. One of the things that appeals to me about Underworlds are that all the warbands that we've seen have been really nice from a kind of stylistic point of view. Oops. Sorry guys, we're trying to get this camera into a decent position for you. It's drooping a bit today. How's that? That's better, isn't it? Bertimo, I was thinking of getting my housemates involved in the game of Underworlds. That's why I was asking. It's fun to paint new random models every now and again. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a good one to get into, and I believe there is a new kind of starter box coming out later this year. I think it's like a cheaper price point, and has got some of the some older models. I think it uses some of the easy build kits from the second edition of Age of Sigmar, and it can kind of introduce you to the rules and how to play the game. So that might be something worth looking at. Bertimo, I can't remember what it's called. It was on a recent preview show. I don't have my my backup in the chat now to post some links for you, I'm afraid. But yeah, if you go to Warhammer Community and look at some of the recent preview shows that they've done, they did show off, not in the most recent preview show, but the one before that, a new kind of Underworlds introductory set. So that's certainly something I'd have a look at. I mean, I don't think Direchasm's too pricey either. Especially if you're splitting it with a friend, you know, you could, I don't know, put, say, 20 quid in each for a couple of you, and get the kind of core set, a couple of different warbands and be able to start playing some games. So it's relatively, it's pretty good value from that point of view. Definitely one of the better kind of multiplayer games that GW have done. The best multiplayer game, of course, being Triumph and Treachery, that I desperately want to come back of at some point. Champions of the Dread fame with a Nighthaunt versus Stormcast. It could well be that one, Andy. I forget what it's called, but yeah, nice way of getting into it without having to jump in at the deep end with all the new models. And some of these warbands have got some pretty cool rules for Age of Sigmar as well, so there's definitely no downside to picking up these just for the models, because they are gorgeous. They do tend to, at the end of a season, sell the models separately as well for you to just paint up. But I mean, really, if you're going to do that, I'd pick up the kind of branded Underworlds versions and be able to use them in games of Underworlds. Makes more sense to me. I have to say, I really like this turquoise colour. I did a Seraphon army a long time ago, back when Age of Sigmar started. And since then they've had proper battle teams, and they're really strong now. When I played with them, it was kind of back in the Wild West days before the General's Handbook, and yeah, I never used them since then. I really should revisit them. I know they're quite powerful in the meta, as the kids would say. I can't believe, Andy, it's 2 years since we went to the Throne of Skulls. Time flies, eh? Andy's been to a Triumph event at Warhammer Wars a few years ago. It was fun. Yeah, I believe back in the real world, before we had all this, I think Nick Baton was running an event every month. I remember we were in... I've got a feeling me and Dave were in Warhammer World for a Warhammer TV thing. I think we were playing on the stream, and when we came out they were just finishing off a Warhammer Underworlds event. I think Kerry was playing in it, and we were just having a drink with Ben in the bar. And yeah, I really want to go to one, because I think that sounds fun. Cool, right, so I think we've got the turquoise down on this guy. So we'll close that. And then what I'm going to do, there's a little gem just on his staff. So I'm just going to start highlighting that up. Aeoliotic blue and then Calgar blue. And he says, yeah, I saw on Facebook, mental. Yeah, it's crazy, it really is. Though I think we've been quite lucky, haven't we? Because the few tournaments that we did manage to do last year were pretty much like the week before lockdown each time. I think in January last year we did the AOS 2-dayer. That was fun. Where I brought the Everchosen. And in fact, yeah, we were on the Hobby Room stream. I got absolutely battered by Kerry's squigs. In particular, the Grot, who managed to slay Archeon. Bad times. I will never live that down. In the whole Hobby Room versus Sprues and Brews tournament stakes, Kerry is far far ahead of us in the bragging rights. Oops. Ooh. So yeah, we did that, and then I think it was like the weekend before lockdown, so it probably would have been pretty much a year ago now, Andy. We had the 40k one-dayer, and I brought my Sisters of Battle. I think they'd just been released, and I'd frantically painted them up ready. Yeah, some fun events. And then, do we have a 9th edition tournament one day again, maybe, in the like small period where we weren't in lockdown in the summer? I thought that was 2009, but I wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. It all blurs together. I'm sure the AOS one was January. Then we had 40k one day this time-ish last year. And then, in the summer, after 9th edition launched, we had another event, but unfortunately again, the country locked down again, so we couldn't play anything else. I think we had a couple of games of Gardenhammer when we could. And hopefully, in a week, is it a week? We should be able to play some Gardenhammer again if the weather improves, so if you're kicking around, Andy, in a couple of weeks' time, and COVID restrictions permitting, I think we need to get a game on in the garden. Right, so that's that. I'm in two minds about highlighting the little ridges around his kind of little thing there. We'll do that with a smaller brush later on, I feel. So I think now what we'll do is we'll get another gold out, Liberator gold, and start highlighting the gold on all these guys. And then we're getting there then, aren't we? They're coming along. Andy, we did one in September, just before lockdown. Yeah, that was a long time ago now, isn't it? I'm looking forward to the next one you guys do. I take it the plan is, obviously COVID permitting, that you do a couple more one-day events in Crewe. It's a nice little venue. This paint is a bit gunky. I'm just gonna drop an agitator in there. Have I got a ball bearing here? Yes, I do. So, little tip, if you ever get any paints that get particularly gunky, just some little ball bearings. These are clear plastic ones that won't kind of affect the paint, but drop it in and it should help mix the paint. You should be able to hear the ball clicking around in there now. Just those kind of tough paints that get a bit gunky at times, just gives it a bit of something to help shake them. So I think you can use like stainless steel ones, but you've got to be careful because some of them will tarnish and affect the colour of the paint, so I tend to use these plastic ones. Right, that should, there we go, that's looking a bit better, isn't it? Again, we'll get some of this on the palette and then we'll start going around. Pretty much what we've just been doing there, edge highlighting. Andy says, COVID permitting, yeah, but no plans at the minute. That's fair enough, really, because obviously a lot can change between now and then, can't it? But yeah, hopefully we get to play some games soon. I have missed events, especially since we've kind of been on a bit of an events kick as well recently. We had booked, and again that was cancelled due to COVID, the Warhammer World team event. So we had Team Sprues and Brews. I was going, Dave and Jay, my compatriots from the podcast, and then we needed a bit of a ringer, so we got Woods involved, representing Sprues and Brews. You've been on the podcast enough times now, Andy, to to be an honorary member of the team anyway. Yeah, if you don't know anyone else in the chat, Andy's often our backup on the podcast if people are sick, or if you know, there's like an ogre battle tome out or something. Get Woods on, all of that. In fact, we haven't had you on the show for a bit, have we? We should get you. We should have you on the show soon. I'm thinking when Underworlds comes out, obviously we're going to try and do some remote gaming. We'll get the camera set up on the table and get the guys dialing in through Google Meets or something, and play some remote Warhammer Underworlds. So if you're up for that, Andy, I'm sure I could find a slot on the team to get you in here. The question is, Andy, what character would you be going for in Curse City? Say Warhammer Underworlds and Curse City for a bit of remote gaming. I think that'd be quite easy one to do remotely, because we can have the camera set up and maybe get some overlays showing the kind of character stats and stuff. Obviously, we don't know when it's out yet, but hopefully I've got a feeling it's probably going to be the next couple of weeks, just because the Warhammer TV painting videos for Curse City are starting to appear on YouTube now, which is cool. But yeah, very excited that. I'm really looking forward to just painting them up, to be honest. I want to do a vampire army, and I don't know if anyone's seen the article I wrote the other day, but it seems that Curse City is pretty much start collecting vampires. Soulblight Gravelords, whatever they're called these days. What I really like is the fact that we seem to be kind of going back to classic Vampire Count style. Because I think one of the it's not a mark against it, but one of the things I wasn't too happy with kind of death as a faction in AOS was that it was very splintered, wasn't it, between all the various sub-factions. So yeah, tying them all together under the Soulblight Gravelords seems a really good idea. And it looks like with all the different vampires that we've got, there might be quite a bit of customization as well, being able to you know, tailor your army to a style that you like. Andy Wood says Curse City the Knight. So this the kind of paladin looking lady. She's really cool. I forget her name. I'm surprised you didn't say the ogre, Andy. I'd have thought that you'd have been all over that. I really like the Witch Hunter, for the sole reason that he seems to have way more weapons than he's got hands to use them. He's a well prepared dude. So yeah, basically just popping in these. When do I think it's coming out? So I don't know any insider info, I'm afraid, but speculation. Warhammer community have been sharing a lot of Curse City articles recently. Like I said earlier, we've got the painting videos up on YouTube as well that Nick and Peachy have been doing. Obviously next week is the entire Lumineth release, and the Battle Tome and the Broken Realms book. I imagine they'll try and tie Curse City into a Easter pre-order, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's the weekend after next. Then follow that up with another preview seminar showing off the Adeptus Mechanicus in full, maybe a few little hints about the next kind of Broken Realm stuff, and then that kind of frees us up towards, I don't know, next couple of months time for the Vampire Range to come out, using essentially Cursed City as a kind of introductory point, because I can see a lot of people starting a Vampire's army off the back of Cursed City, so they'll certainly want it out soon. If I had to bet, I'd say week after next pre-order. So we'll see. I really hope we get one to review as well. That'll be really fun. We're quite privileged in that we do get sent stuff, you know, battle tomes and codexes. So if we're really lucky, we might be able to get hold of a copy of Cursed City a little earlier. And then if we did, we're absolutely going to do some live, maybe a stream and play the game live. That'd be fun. And if we don't, still, you know, but by the time it comes out, I'll book a week off and just spend the whole week painting models, because yeah, I don't think there's a bad model in that box. They're really cool. Even down to like the bat swarms and the rat swarms. It's kind of like replacements for the old models that we've had of that style. Yeah, really, really cool. Andy says, my poor wallet. Bertimo, I'm going to need that box. All the heroes look epic. Yeah, they really do. They really do. And they've said that all of the models in the game can be used in your games of Age of Sigmar as well. So, yeah, that's something pretty cool. I do approve of that. It looks like most of the heroes will be able to slot into a Cities of Sigmar army. So I have got a Cities of Sigmar force. I have been meaning to start a second one as well. I've got it to hand, not anywhere accessible. But on the last Broken Realms book, there was a box that came out with the Dark Elf on Dragon and a load of the kind of Dark Elf infantry. So I just some Cold One Knights maybe and a few other bits and bobs, and I'll be able to do a full kind of Dark Elf force. Andy's got 2 weeks booked off for his birthday in April. If it comes out during that period, I'll know what I'm doing. Oh, absolutely, that'd be really cool, Andy. Yeah, once we know when it's out, give me a message and we'll sort out arranging some remote games of it. I mean, by then we might be able to do some garden Cursed City. But yeah, definitely up for you being on the stream, Andy, and playing along with us if that sounds good to you. As a streaming time, guys, how does this 8 o'clock on a Tuesday slot work for you people? I want to try and do some more regular streams and just want to find some decent days where, you know, it works for you guys watching. So if you're free on a Tuesday, I can try and get a regular stream in then. Today was very much an unadvertised throw the stream on because I was going to do some painting anyway, so glad to see some people in the chat giving me some company while I'm painting. These models are so cool. I am seriously tempted to do a Seraphon Force again. I really like the Dread Saurian. Well, that's a nice model. I don't know what his rules are like nowadays, but you know, I'm very much of the opinion that rules are secondary to the models. you know, it's like the Slangors out of the Slanesh book. They've not really had that much love on the old Facebook and Twitter groups, but they're gorgeous models. So I feel I'm going to have to pick up a box of them at some point just to paint up, because they're really nice. And he says 8 PM is fine. Awesome. We might look to do that then. Have a recurring 8 o'clock stream on a Tuesday. I'm gonna try and get a couple of nights. Obviously after Warhammer TV have been on, because that seems a bad time to stream. And then a couple of hours maybe just having a chat and painting. But Timo says it's funny. I feel the warbands are just a way to get you to start new armies. Well, yeah, I'm sure that's part of the master plan. Because, like I say, it's a nice little palette cleanser and a nice way of kind of trying out a new army to see if you'll enjoy painting them. Because I'm sure we've all done it. You've picked up kind of stuff in the past and then realised that actually you don't enjoy painting that force, or you find them frustrating to build. You know, we've all been there. So being able to kind of have a taster of what the army's like, and there's 6 figures in this set. It's not a lot to get painted up, and like Batimo says, it might actually lead to you starting a new army at some point. Which I'm sure is the intent, but it's all good. And I feel Cursed City is going to be very much the same for a lot of people with the vampires. Oh, what did you guys think of Annika that they showed? I think it was yesterday on Warcom. She's freaky looking, isn't she? I think she's my favourite of the vampire model so far, just because how weird she looks. If anyone in the chat has played the Resident Evil Village demo, I'm certainly getting scary tall vampire lady vibes from her. Okay, we're getting there. This is always the time-consuming bit, isn't it? Picking out all the edge highlighting. But we'll work through the gold. There's a handful of models left. Get the gold down, and then we're not far off completion. Then I always like it when it feels like you've accomplished something, and the warband's starting to come together. So guys, was there anything else you saw in the preview show that you're excited for? What do you guys normally play? Batima, you were painting some AOS stuff, weren't you? Do you play any 40k at all? Were you tempted by any of the goodies that we saw? The squiggy piggies, I think, are really ace. I've got an orc force, and I might have to add some of those to it. I've got Gazgul as well under the desk that needs building. I'm a terrible hoarder. I'll pick up battle boxes and various stock collecting sets, and they'll sit under the desk until time when a new codex or battle tome comes out. I'm a little bit torn on what to paint once I've done these guys. Obviously, if Cursed City is on the horizon, then I've got a feeling that'll be taking most of my hobby time getting that painted up. I've got a couple of units left in my Sisters of Battle Force to paint up. So if they're getting a new codex as well, I feel it makes sense to get them done. And then yeah, I've got a Sons of Horus force that I was painting up pretty much all December. And I think I burnt myself out a little bit by just battering through that project. So I've only got a few bits left, a unit of veteran marines and 3 predators, and then I've got 3,000 points of Sons of Horus done, because I really want to play some Horus Heresy when we can. I've after reading through the Siege of Terror novels, I've been really tempted to play some Heresy. I've got an Emperor's Children force, but I've always wanted to paint Horus, so did a Sons of Horus force for something something a bit different, and really enjoyed doing it. So yeah, 3,000 points of them nearly done. But team, I've never really got into 40k. The setting and the style doesn't really get me. That said, any more squigs in my life is never a bad thing. Well, if you haven't seen them, if you head over to Warhammer Community, on Saturday there was a preview show, and they showed off a new 40k orc unit, and it is basically if you think Gore Grunters from AOS, but swap the mount for a giant angry looking squig with an orc on the back and a gobbo. Yeah, they look amazing. So I'm interested to see what that means, because it kind of implied that, you know, like more savage orc kind of feel to them. So snake bites maybe. I know boar boys were a thing back in the day, and I think they've kind of taken that idea and swapped the boar for a squig, which isn't a bad thing in my book. So yeah, it looks really cool. My orc, I mean, you might be able to see it just in the corner of your screen on this shelf here, maybe. Oh, you might not be able to see it, but it's all Evil Sun's kind of speed freaks based army, so all vehicles, all mounted. All my kind of like troop choices are in trucks, so nothing is foot slogging. So I reckon I'll get away with adding some squigs into there. They're not foot slogging, well the squigs are, but the guys riding them aren't. I mean, if they do new orc boys and they give them optional parts to make them into, you know, savage orcs, for want of a better word, that'd be really cool. I'd have to pick up a couple of units. My orc army's quite light on boys, being a vehicle based force, so yeah, there's room for some more orcs in there. I was thinking, and I don't know who was chatting it to. Maybe you might have been chatting it to on Dave on the podcast. But if they don't get a new orc kit and you wanted to get a more kind of savage looking 40k orc army, I'm sure you could do some kit bashes with the AOS Savage Orcs and the Orc Boys kit. So yeah, worst case, I think we do have some options for sprucing them up a bit. So yeah. The hard bit is, I've got Ghazghkull to paint, and I've got the contents of that box, which I think came with some mega knobs and some knobs. So the question is, do I paint them as Goths, or do I paint them as Evil Sons to match the rest of my force? I'm potentially thinking a little Goth bodyguard for Ghazghkull, and then maybe some Grot cannon fodder. Because if I remember rightly, in the Goths, might have been in the Psychic Awakening book, what was it called? Saga of the Beast. They basically the Gretchen kind of got a invulnerable save if they were nearby. The Mikari, is he called? Mikiri, Ghazghkull's banner bearer. something I would need a bit of a defensive line of Gretchen as well. And then yeah, if we do get more savage elements, then like I say, we can kit bash them up and get something suitable. I think that looked really good, a kind of more feral orc tribe as well. Okay. But it seems like that kit bash is a great idea. Cheers. Yeah, I think it'd be quite easy to do as well. And you know, there's plenty of spare parts on the various orc kits, so it shouldn't be too hard to do. I know a lot of people have used the war boss as a war boss Omega Knob, because he's a big chunky model, and I think he's more imposing than some of the 40k ones. Derek Wingrove in the chat, how are we doing? Can't wait to get a hold of these models. Just completing Mayari's Purifiers at the moment, along with my Black Hawk Blood Bowl team and some Dark Angel Intercessors. Awesome. Yeah, these are really, really nice models. So obviously we were lucky enough to get our hands on them to review, and I thought I'd paint these up with you guys on the stream. They're really nice. I really wish we could get Saurus Warriors that look like this, because the current AOS kit is a little bit dated now, which is a shame. But this guy looks really ace. And the rest of the warband, Derek, in case you ain't seen, so there's the skink. He's really cool. And yeah, basically there's a kind of a trio of kind of skink fighters. Again, all look really characterful and really nice sculpts. There is a chameleon skink who in game is super annoying and can, if he hits with his weapon, he puts a movement token on them, so then they can't move or charge, which is really cool. And then we have, I think he's a Star Priest, but he doesn't actually cast any spells in Direchasm. So yeah, all the models are really cool though. I think the stuff that they've done. Oh, cheers, Derek. Thanks. We've been trying to paint them up over the last few days on the stream. Normally, I try and get them painted for when our NDA drops, so I can put the models on Twitter and stuff. But we had a lot of books to review last week, so I didn't get the chance. So I thought, well, why not paint them up on the stream and kind of share that with you? So yeah, thanks for that. Hopefully, we're not much to do yet. Finish off this gold, couple more highlights, finish off the bases, and yeah, we should be nearly there then. Add some flock and stuff. There is on one of the bases, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see this. Let me find him. I think it's this one. Yeah. Now I'm not sure how well this will show on the camera. Can you see? Just let me get a pointing stick. That there is actually a pool, and there's like ripples of water, so I might have to put some water effect in there. And then there's a little frog just like climbing out of it. Crazy little detail on the base of a model, and in hindsight I maybe should have left the model separate to the bases. Might have made it a little bit easier for me to paint it, but hey, you live and learn. Andy, I get the feeling that they're slowly going back over the older AOS books and updating models. Yeah, I think so too. So we saw that obviously the vampires are getting a big release. We saw that the Nighthaunt and the Stormcast are both getting new models soon. So whether that's going to tie in to a new Broken Realms book maybe, and they get released alongside that, is a possibility. Or they get updated battle tomes. I mean, they were the first books for 2nd edition, so they're quite old now. I think the oldest 2 books that are currently available are, and I'm just trying to gauge on the spine. It's got a slightly different icon on the book. So looking at my bookshelf, we've got both Idoneth Deepkin and Maggotkin of Nurgle, who've got like an older style spine. So they're the older ones now. The Idoneth Deepkin did get a lot of updates in Broken Realms Marathi. So whether that's a kind of stopgap until they do get a new kit, or yeah, maybe they've got a new book on the way. It'd be cool to get some new models for the Idoneth Deepkin. Now, what we tend to see are releases sometimes in line with new battle tomes for Underworlds, and we know that the final warband this season are the Idoneth Deepkin. So I do wonder if we'll get a new battle tome there, and perhaps some new models. Like, imagine a big octopus or something for the Deepkin. That'd be really cool. Big Kraken model. So yeah, that is something I would very much like to see. Andy Wood says, when Nurg will get a book, oh baby. Oh baby indeed. And see, that's an interesting one as well, because we've got Be'lakor coming out. I say presumably we'll get a 40k codex or something with those models, but if there was a new 40k demon book, then potentially that'd be a good time to add, say, for example, a new Nurgle demon model, which could then be in the AOS battle tome. Again, this is all speculation. I know nothing. But yeah, it's hard to judge stuff that's coming out at the minute, isn't it? Because obviously, I think they've recently opened, or they've got a new factory, or they've got more production facility, but COVID has obviously impacted everything, so I don't think they've been working at full capacity. So yeah, I imagine the battle plan was that once this new factory was up and running, they'll be able to churn out releases even quicker than they are at the minute. So yeah, it's all very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing when the world's back to normal, seeing kind of what the release schedule is, because I think there's going to be an awful lot of stuff. Andy Woods, I bet Idoneth this year, but I'm guessing it'll be a booking on the spells potentially. Yeah. Steve Harbour, hi, how are we doing? Good to see you in the chat. That's coming along well. Cheers. Yeah. So, where did we get up to on Sunday's stream? I'd got most of the base colours down, hadn't I? And I spent yesterday basically just tidying up a few things, a few bits I'd missed because I'd not been paying attention and chatting to you guys instead. So yeah, so I'd done that on the last few days. And then, yeah, I quickly got some colours down on the base after work today. And then, yeah, we've been highlighting Seraphon today. So we've got the skin highlighted, touched up a few bits on the Saurus. And then, yeah, we're just working on the gold at the minute. This is the time-consuming bit, going around the edges of all these kind of panels and glyphs and stuff. But yeah, it's coming together. I'm pretty happy with how they're looking, to be honest. I'm desperate to play a game with them as well. So yeah, massive thanks to everyone who's come in. So Derek says blue and gold must count as Marchmore Crag. Funny you should say that. A certain Ultramarines fan mentioned that to me this very day. That's yeah, blue and gold. So yeah. To be fair, I really enjoyed painting the Ultramarine that I did. And I have got another one that I need to paint up as well. Whether he gets to make it by the end of March from Crag, I don't know. I've only got a week left, haven't I? Priority has been getting these guys painted. In fact, I might do that tomorrow. So I've got the. Do you remember a while ago there was a store exclusive Horus Heresy Ultramarines banner bearer who has an uncanny resemblance for Nick Baton. This model has passed round the entirety of Sprues and Brews multiple times. I think I bought it Dave was doing Ultramarines for a project, and I gave it to him because I wasn't using it. Jay then did a load of Ultramarines as part of our Indomitus coverage, so David passed it to him to paint, and yeah, Jay saw that I'd enjoyed painting the Ultramarine that I did do, and I've ended up with him again. So a bit of a boomerang model. It's a really nice model though, and I'm looking forward to finally painting it after all these years. So that might be what I do next after these guys. Get that washed tomorrow, and then yeah, I can start working on that. If you've not built any kind of Forge World resin kits before, because of the kind of mold release agent that they use, it's best to give them a bit of a wash in soapy water. Let them dry properly, because it's quite porous, and then once all the icky mold release stuff's off, then they're ready to paint. So yeah, that's the plan for that. I might get some work done on him tomorrow maybe. But yeah, as for these guys, the gold's nearly done. I might do I'm not entirely happy with that kind of scepter. I might do a silver highlight on there as well. But bar that, he's coming together, isn't he? Pretty happy with him. So what we'll do now is, like I said earlier, let that dry. We'll do the Stegodon scale green again. There's just a few elements on the back of here where the paint's peeled or it's been knocked while I've been painting it, so we'll just touch that up a little bit, and then when that's dry we can start highlighting up those colours as well. I have got a super organised system of paints behind me here. It's kind of scary the number of colours that I've pulled out here to paint these, but wanted to make sure I was ready for all possibilities. So newcomers to the chat, Derek and Steve, what are you guys working on tonight? Anything exciting? Also guys, if any of you are on Twitter, obviously stay where you are on YouTube watching it, that's absolutely fine, but if you do get the chance to give us a little follow on Twitch, as well, then yeah, that helps us kind of get more visibility over there as well. Like I say, we've predominantly streamed and do all our videos and reviews and stuff on YouTube, so I'm going to try and slowly build a bit of a Twitch presence as well, so we can do both at the same time. I did a bit of a poll on our Twitter over what platform people preferred to watch, and it was pretty much a 50-50 split on YouTube and Twitch. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that people who maybe didn't like using YouTube or don't use YouTube could watch us as well. So yeah, hence the dual streaming. Steve is doing edge highlights on Imperial Fists. Excellent. I've always fancied doing an Imperial Fist army. I managed to get a decent scheme for it using I sprayed them Zandri dust. I highlighted them using I suppose my standard bone kind of transition, so Zandri dust, Ushabti bone, Screaming Skull, and then basically glazed the whole lot with what is it called, Lamenter's Yellow, the yellow glaze. But sadly that colour's been discontinued from Games Workshop when the contrast range came in. There's probably a contrast colour that you could replicate it with, or if you use Instar paints, if you mix a drop of yellow to about 3 drops of Water Plus, you can pretty much create your own glaze as well, which is pretty handy. I've used that in a few places where I haven't got the perfect glaze, so just mix up my own colour with the Instar paints. It can be a little bit scary at first mixing colours, but yeah, you soon get used to it. Right, so that is looking a bit better now. Cool. So I think next what we might do is start building up the green on the chameleon skink. So yeah, I'm not entirely convinced with him yet, and I might change my mind in the scheme entirely. But yeah, he's what he is at the minute. So what we think we'll do is start building that up with some kind of lighter greens. I was thinking of doing some like browns in there to get kind of like a, you know, colour changing chameleon effect. In a perfect world, I don't know, paint him at some kind of angle where he's disappearing into the base or something. But it'd be a bit difficult to do, like, and make it look convincing. So I think we'll just highlight him up with greens, and then we might add a couple of dots of colour here or there. I was looking at some kind of like source images of chameleons, and you get quite a few with kind of lots of pink and purple spots. So yeah, we'll highlight him up and then see if we add anything funky to him later on. It's a really nice sculpt though. I really like all the kind of foliage and stuff that are on these bases as well. So what we've got is Nurgling Green. I haven't used this paint for ages as well, so we'll give this a good shake first. Let's see how that is. It's a very light green, so we'll have to play this by ear and see how we go. We might just do some like extreme highlights on it. I've got another green that I poured out as well, Ogrin Camo, which should highlight that pretty well. That's the idea anyway. So this paint's pretty thin already, but we'll give it a drop of Water Plus just to help it flow. Just mix that in a little bit. Right, that should be okay. And then yeah, we'll see how this looks. So on the fingers, again we'll just try and do, I guess, a bit of an extreme highlight on this. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, eh? Yeah, that seems to work okay. Quite happy with that. Daniel Watson, good morning. How are we doing? Good to see you in the chat. We are currently painting some Seraphon, the Starblood Stalkers for Warhammer Underworlds. Really nice models, and yeah, been some fun to paint. Are you working on anything today, Daniel? What time is it there? You're in Australia, aren't you? How are we getting on? I was just saying to the rest of the guys in the chat as well, if Twitch is your favoured streaming platform, we now broadcast simultaneously to both platforms as well. So yeah, if you prefer Twitch, then yeah, that's an option to get your sprues and brews fix as well. And we also have a merchandise store set up now as well. So if you go to the website, there's a button there. If you do want to pick up your very own Sprues and Brews t-shirt, mug, stickers, anything like that, if you head to spruesandbrews.com, there'll be a button somewhere on the site for you to pick up that. I'm looking forward to payday to ordering some of the stuff myself. My current Sprues and Brews t-shirts I've had for years, and after a year of working from home, no longer fit me, so I need to pick up a bigger size, I think. Yeah, there's also a hoodie as well in the range that I want to pick up myself. I feel we need some official sprues and brews attire for when we go to tournaments and stuff again. Right, we're getting there, The green's a little bit extreme. I could have done with something that was maybe a bit more of a mid-ground colour, but I think this will be fine. I think as a stock highlight, it's not too bad. Daniel, it's 8:25. I'm at work right now. I'm working on some word bearer terminators though. Excellent, that's cool. Can't go wrong with word bearers. Have you seen the new word bearers that are up for pre-order Friday or Saturday soon? They look really cool. Praetors. I think one's in Terminator armour, one's in power armour. They look really cool. Went to AOS one day this weekend. Lost all 3 games. Excellent. What were you playing? What army list did you bring? Nothing wrong with losing all games. I've had horrendous look at some tournaments myself. The thing with tournaments though, you know, while it's nice to win, I kind of just go for the camaraderie, the kind of... It's just nice, isn't it, to chat with some people and play some Warhammer and roll some dice. So I really don't mind going to a tournament and not winning a single game. And the way the ranking systems work in a lot of tournaments, you'll end up naturally playing people who are similar maybe mindset to yourself. You know, all the hardcore gamers will gravitate to the top tables, while all the there may be slightly more narrative lists will congregate together on the lower tables where they can have some fun. Slanesh. I think I need a serious rework of my list since the new book came out. Haven't got any mortals yet as I've been working on 40k stuff. Yeah, the mortals look really good, Daniel. Glutos Oscillion, is he called, the new guy? He's really cool. Both for buffing your army and for some kind of like debuffs to the enemy force. He's yeah, I need to pick up him myself. Sigfold looks good. He's a bit of a glass cannon. Bliss Barb Archer look amazing. And I saw there's a FAQ that landed today as well. And Shalexi, the kind of demon, two demons stand on top of each other, now gives you extra depravity points. So yeah, that's handy if you need to rapidly get your force up. It previously was an ability that I think it gave you re-rolls if you had equal numbers of demons or mortals nearby, and yeah, that's been reworked a little bit now in the FAQ. So yeah, exciting times. I'm very jealous that you've managed to do a tournament though, Daniel. How are things over there, kind of COVID restriction wise? I think you guys are probably in a lot of a better shape than some of us are over here. The second game was against a 3 Bloodthirster list, and it was easily the worst game ever in terms of fun. Oh, that's a shame. That is a real shame. I've had a couple of, very rarely, but a couple of games at a tournament that just were no fun. Either down to, I suppose, the sportsmanship of the other player, or kind of how fun the list was to play against. So yeah, sorry to hear that you didn't have fun with that. Right, we've done him. So I think we've got some leather straps and stuff that I probably want to give a bit of a highlight. So let's pop that down. We'll get a brown out to start highlighting those. Yeah, I think I've been quite lucky where the majority of games that I've played at a tournament have been really fun. There's like one, maybe two max where it's not been an enjoyable game. Me and Dave went to a doubles event and pretty much got tabled turn one, and yeah, that was a painful experience. But the rest of the games we had at that event were really, really fun. So yeah, I guess it's one of those. Most people go to a kind of like a narrative event looking to have fun. I've never played at a grand tournament, but I would like to give it a go. But even then, I'd still, I suppose, while I want to take a half decent list, that might have a chance of doing okay. I wouldn't be too precious about it. And at the end of the day, the reason I play is to have fun. So yeah, I'm not one for super competitive lists or net lists or any of that. As long as the games are fun, I don't mind. Daniel, it was the AOS coach who ran the event. Oh, awesome! Yeah, it was really good. In terms of COVID, it's not really an issue here currently. Sadly, just means I can't see my family in Blighty anytime soon. Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's going to be a while for travel restrictions for us. Hopefully, I think our vaccine progress is doing pretty well. So you never know. Hopefully, we get to the point where you can pop back over, Daniel, and see some family. Fingers crossed, anyway. The guy was rolling red hot and just deleting units. That 6-inch pile in fighting twice, which is a bystander. So I've had a game against multiple bloodthirsters, and yeah, when it goes well for them, they can just steamroll through the army. So yeah, it is a shame if the game's not enjoyable though. But I guess you've learned something about that list, and next time you'll be able to counter it a bit better, maybe. You'll get some lists as well where it's just a natural counter to your army and you don't always do anything. I mean, from a thematic point of view, Slaanesh and Khorne haven't exactly been best mates, have they? Andy Woods, I get you. Yeah, games like that are one-sided and never fun. Yeah. So 2 years ago today, me and Andy were at an event at Warhammer World, and it was a Throne of Skulls, which is it's not like a GT. It's a bit more light-hearted. It's all about having fun and playing some fun games. And my first game was against a guy called Ants. Really nice guy. He had an absolutely gorgeous Sylvaneth army. I was going to say Wood Elves Sylvaneth army. That I think got voted for best army. And I was using the big Khorne dragon, and he easily won because he could dance around his wildwoods, and we quickly figured out that if he stayed in the wildwoods, my dragon wouldn't actually be able to get to his units. So the guy was a great sport and decided that wouldn't be a fun game. I'll just ride out and fight the big dragon. So even though he won the scenario, I think I managed to kill 1,970 points of Sylvaneth or something ridiculous like that. So even though I lost, it was a really fun game. Alright, you're looking okay, yeah? Daniel, I do feel that AOS has more situations where an army has no chance than 40k. Yeah, so I mean we've been discussing rumours that a new edition of AOS might be on the horizon. So I hope that is something that they address, because yeah, I agree with you. It does seem that is something more likely. Boss has arrived, got to go. No worries, Daniel. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. Hope your day goes well and work isn't too bad for you. So has anyone else in the chat had any kind of negative or positive tournament experiences? What's the favourite event that you've been to? Any events that you wouldn't go to again? Yeah, let us know. I'd be interested to know what you think of competitive wargaming. I know, Andy, you're a bit of a tournament veteran, really, aren't you? What are your thoughts? Have you had any? What have you been your kind of favourite tournament experiences and your least favourite tournament experiences? And likewise, anyone else in the chat who's been a bit quiet during the stream, feel free to say hello. If you're over on Twitch and it seems the chat's a bit empty and I'm talking to myself, the YouTube stream is in this chat as well, so I don't think you guys can see that, unfortunately. But yeah, whichever platform you're on, I will be able to see whatever you type. Andy Wood says, is this the edition that the double turn ends? I like the double turn, but then I play Archeon and can see who's going to get the double turn. The double turn does cause situations that you can't come back from, though. I will give you that. It's certain armies, if you just get hit, you know, say if I don't know, I let you go second, Andy, I kind of consolidate up turn one, and then you just steamroll through with a double turn. Sometimes, yeah, you can't come back from that, which is a shame. I'd say it's rare, though. I think certainly the scenarios they've been putting out in the General's Handbook have been pretty balanced, really. Andy's thankfully only had one game that was awful. What happened, Andy? Want to share with the group your Warhammer nightmares? If you say it's against me, you're banned from the chat. So we're just picking out highlighting the brown areas now. And then really we're nearly there. We need to highlight the scales on the back, do the base, and I think we're certainly ready for the battlefield. I hope everyone's enjoyed painting along with us as well. It's been good to chat to you all while painting these guys. A few little leather straps and stuff to do. Okay, pretty happy with him. So Andy Woods. I used to play competitively all the time and played a guy called Wayne Kemp from Healing Hammer podcast and was over by turn 2. After that I decided to play without wanting to win every game. Is this when you started doing your kind of like challenges? So I've mentioned it a few times in on the painting stream, but obviously there might be some people here that I haven't watched before. But yeah, as long as I've been playing games against Andy, he always tends to come up with some goals. So, for example, we were in an event where he refused to take the double turn, and if it came up, he'd always give it to his opponent, which is really cool from a sportsmanship point of view, even if it does maybe hinder your chances of winning. So yeah, I do. I am impressed with that from you, Andy. It's pretty cool, that. But Timo, to be honest, when I'm playing for fun, if there's a double turn that would end the game on turn 2, I never take it. It's about fun after all, not one dice roll. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, isn't it? There's, as much as I like the idea of the double turn, there are times when it can just make the game end immediately. Which isn't fun for anyone, is it? Let's face it. You want to at least give the other person a fighting chance. Andy, it was not against Matt. Cheers. I've not really... you know what? I've not had many games against you, Andy. We had the Nurgle versus... Come on, focus. We had the Nurgle versus Bighorn Dragon, didn't we? At the Throne of Skulls. That was a fun game. And have we played a game of 40k against each other, I want to say? Certainly not nearly enough games against you, Andy. We need to sort that out when we can. So Andy, so the guy I played rolled dice without telling me what he was rolling for. Got a lot of rules wrong and rolled dice behind terrain and took them away before I could... Oh, yeah, that's a bit funny, isn't it? You know, that's just cheating, isn't it? Which is, you know, I know everyone wants to win the game, but hiding your dice rolls so the opponent can't see what they are isn't the most sportsmanship thing ever. And I think that's why I like the Throne of Skulls events, because sportsmanship is a big part of the score. Basically, it's sportsmanship and the army painting is half of the score for the event. So I really like that. Pardon me. It makes it... it rewards you for being a nice player and for spending some time painting your army, which is really cool. Andy, yeah, at first I thought of Hobby Bingo. Things I aimed to do that didn't involve always winning. We played Flesh Eaters versus Idoneth. Yeah. How did that go? I can't remember. I had a lot of eels. I think they were pretty good. I don't think I did very well at that event. I think I may have lost many games at that one. Again, I'm far from a pro player. As long as I can roll some dice, I'm happy. So, just highlighting the kind of bone areas now. So all the nails and the teeth and stuff. This guy, and the rope on here as well. So let's pick that out. These are the kind of models that I'll come back to tomorrow and realise that I've missed like a load of bits. They are quite detailed. Not in a bad way. Just in a... Matt's going to miss half of the stuff and then be like, oh yeah, they're nearly done. And then, oh no, actually I need to paint that bit again. So that's him done. I don't think this guy's got... Oh, he's got the nails, so we'll paint those up. Andy says it came down to turn 3 and I think I won but only just, and then lost to Jay. Yeah, Jay's a pretty good player. Remember rightly, it was a fun game though, Andy. I remember us having fun with that one. Right, this guy will just carefully highlight some of these teeth as well. Just enough to give the impression of the teeth being highlighted. You know what, I've really enjoyed painting these guys. Something a little bit different. Cool, so he's looking alright. We get to this guy who's got a lot more teeth to highlight than the other guys have. So what we'll do, clean me brush, get some paint mixed up, and then we'll start highlighting the teeth on here. And what are we on? We're 9:15 already. Flying by tonight. 9:45 even. Time flies when you're having fun. So yeah, well, I was going to stream to about 10ish, but let's see how we get on. I might try and finish all the bone stuff, see what else we've got to do, and then yeah, we'll gauge it from there. Not in any particular hurry to be anywhere, so I don't mind painting a little bit if you guys are still watching. If anyone is lurking in the chat and hasn't said hi, come and introduce yourself. It's good to chat with you all. I see we've got Mr. Jennings. Dave, how are you doing? Lurking over on Twitch. You having a good day, Dave? Just saying earlier, this week's podcast is a bit of a chunky one. I guess you've been furiously editing that while I've been streaming. What's the damage? How big's the episode? I feel there's got a bit of gold on here. You can see that. I'll have to fix that. So yeah, just highlighting these various claws and stuff. Again, not planning on going too over the top with the highlights. Just want it battle ready. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how they're looking. Cool. And put them there so I don't forget I need to just touch up that Stegodon scale green. Dave says, very well, Matt. Sorry, worked late and a million things to do. I'll let you know the runtime shortly. Yeah, it sounded like a big old episode. We had fun, so that should be available at some point soon from your favourite streaming service. Lots of discussion of squiggy piggies. And awesome vampires, of course. Right, he's got a little bit of gold as well. I swear the gold on these models is multiplying. Seraphon looking good. Cheers, Dave. Thanks. They've been really fun to paint up. We're nearly there, to be fair. I need to highlight up the scales. There's a few little bits of Stegodon scale green that for some reason just doesn't seem to be covering very well today. I might have thinned it a bit too much maybe when I did the initial coats of them. So Dave says that the latest podcast will be online for everyone's listening pleasure in an hour or so. So yeah, if you stay tuned to your podcast source of choice, I use Spotify when I'm listening myself, or wait for the post to go up on the website. Dave asks if I'm tempted by 1,000 points of Seraphon for Age of Sigmar. You know what I would do, but there's so many armies that I want to do. Obviously, want to do the vampires. I've got my Dark Elf, Anvil Guard force I want to do. I've got the Sons of Bahamut that I need to finish off. So yeah, maybe at some point, but I've got a lot of projects to do. The Slanesh army needs finishing. Yeah, I've got too many projects on the go, Dave, to start a Seraphon army. But they've been really fun. Definitely at some point I'd like to do some. I think that'd be cool. Anyone else out in Chatland painted any Seraphon in the past? Or tempted to start some Seraphon? Steve, we'll have to try and get down to the unicorns when things get back to normal. Being back in the hobby for about 2 years, I have been playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle 8th edition. Last time I played 40k was Rogue Trader. Wow, yeah, that is a long time ago. It's a really fun game. I'd certainly give it a go, Steve. It is good fun. I think the recent edition is the best that they've done. So yeah, really happy with what they've done for the system. Bertimo says, podcast for my drive to work then. Perfect. Excellent. Well, glad that we can keep you some company in some way via the drive to work. So Dave says, Seraphon and Skaven have always been two armies that I fancied. Sprayed a Bone Reaper Grey Seer earlier. Did you, Dave? What was it? What were you painting? What's the Bone Reaper? I want to know. Also, Dave, I think you should get that box with the cavalry in. The Liege Cavalos and the... I can't remember what they're called. The Bone Reaper Cavalry. You save about 30 quid by getting the new Broken Realms box. And, you know, a Bone Reaper Cavalry army would look amazing. Mortek Guard, Dave's been spraying up. Excellent. You're doing like a test model then. Have you had any thoughts on the colour scheme? Because I know you were torn, weren't you? Dave's very tempted to pick up that box. I'm a terrible influence, aren't I? Hobby enabler, I think is what I am. You know what? I've just been highlighting all this. There's Andrew Dust, and I've missed the rope on here. Oh well, we'll come back to that in a second. Basically, there was a few little spots where the Stegodon Scale Green hadn't applied too well, so just tidying them up a little bit. And Dave's going to use Water Plus for the first time. Excellent, cool. Let us know how you get on. So with Citadel paints, what I tend to do with Water Plus is just put a drop of it, same as you would like water it down normally. A drop or two's plenty. Just thin it down, makes it really smooth and easy to paint with. If you're using it with Instar paints, to be fair, they're already pretty thin and good to go out the bottle. You can add additional Water Plus to then turn those colours into... Have we got one here? A little kind of like fact card where it'll show you your various ratios that you need to create different styles. So 1 drop to make a contrast style paint, 2 drops to make a glaze, and 3 drops to make a wash. That's in a ratio with Instar paints. Citadel paints are quite a bit thicker, so you probably want to up those ratios a little bit if you are creating your own washes, glazes, or contrast paints, which is really cool. You can also mix it with contrast paints to make them run really smoothly. So one of the problems with contrast is the fact that they can pool on flat surfaces and look a bit patchy. Put some Water Plus in with them, and that will just make it flow a bit better and stop that from happening. So if you watch the Hobby Room, Kerry's been doing some Marines using contrast mixed with Water Plus, and they look amazing. So yeah, really impressed with how it looks. Right, what were we doing? We need to highlight the bits on here again with an Ushabti bone. Daniel is back. Did you manage to escape your boss doing horrific things like making you work? Dave says, man, that warrior looks mint. Which warrior is this, Dave? I'm impressed that you're painting up the Bone Reapers though, Dave. That's cool. If you're free at some point, Dave, I think via the magic of the internet, we need to do a a Bone Reapers test game, don't we? Via Tabletop Simulator or something. Oh, the one I'm highlighting. Oh, awesome. Yeah, cheers. He's he's cool. I was saying it, I think, before you came on, I was saying how cool it'd be if the kind of Saurus Warrior kit was kind of like this. I think that's one of the things that's putting me off doing a whole army of these, that some of the kits are a bit old and don't look quite as nice as this guy does. Which I think would annoy me. Doing a whole army of them if they didn't all look this pretty. So yeah, it's a little picky thing, but that's a big part of it for me. You know, they're painting the models and making them look cool. The old Saurus Warriors are a bit of a turn off. I suppose I could convert them up out of the Blood Bowl team maybe, but that's a lot of work, isn't it? Converting them all up. So you never know. Next time round, Seraphon might get a new Saurus Warrior kit. That'd be really fun. Jay mentioned the Saurus Warrior kit isn't fun to build. No, and one thing to bear in mind, because it is designed for Warhammer Fantasy, the feet have actually got the slaughter base connector on there. So you've got to cut them off the feet, and you know, you end up with fragile feet and having to stick them to the base yourself. So yeah, it just doesn't seem a good idea, that, personally. Right, so what we're going to do now, we've got a bit of time. We'll start highlighting the red on this shield. Daniel says it's all good now. Panic stations avoided. Excellent. So Daniel was just telling us that he had an AOS event run by AOS Coach. Very jealous, because that sounds amazing to me. Very much missing playing games of Warhammer. So what we're going to do is just highlight these scales on the back of his shield. So I'm using Evil Sun Scarlet here, just picking up like the top half of these scales, and then we'll go in with an edge highlight of Wild Rider Red, I think. Come on, focus. He's not focusing, is he? So Daniel says lots of cool stuff in the preview, but I was a little disappointed there was no Chaos Codex. I don't care which one, Marines, Knights, Demons or Thousand Suns, any would have done. Well, if you listen to the podcast, which is out in the next hour or so, Daniel, we do talk about this on this week's show. So Demons, I think, are probably going to be alongside Be'lakor, because that seems the most sensible time to release an updated Demon Codex. Outside of Be'lakor, realistically, I don't think we're going to get any new models, but you know, there's a lot of units that we've got models for that aren't in the current 40k Demon Codex, so that will bring that up to date. For the Chaos Space Marines, in the campaign book, Book of Rust, is it called? Book of Rust. It's quite heavily mentioned about Traitor Guardsmen and Dark Mechanicum. There's a very heavy Demon Engine focus in the book as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do see some other cool elements when they come out. Andy just said when Chaos Space Marines come out, I think I'm going to finally pull the trigger and do a Black Legion Force. So I've had this dilemma, Andy. I've got under the desk, again with all my other stuff, the Chaos Space Marine Battle Force that came out at Christmas, along with Abaddon and a few other kits. I'm planning on doing a Black Legion Force myself, but I don't know, I'm kind of torn. My brain says hold fire until the new codex comes out, because then I'll be able to see, you know, have weapon loadouts change, what kind of unit builds are worth doing, and the other part of me just wants to build them all up now. There's pros and cons for both, isn't there? if I get them built and painted, then I've got a Chaos Space Marine force ready for when the book comes out. But then I might kind of regret some of the weapons options that I've given them. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do I wait for a new Chaos Space Marine Codex, or do I just throw caution to the wind and build what looks cool? And if I'm perfectly honest, Rule of Core wins every time. So we're now just highlighting these little red triangles, getting these looking ship shape. Dave says, I've got a few Chaos Marine kits. We'll get around to painting them as Iron Warriors at some point. That's pretty cool. I hope you're going to go full hazard stripes, Dave. Daniel, I did think the same about Be'lakor, but in the rules article they say supplement, which a codex is, but it's a weird way to phrase it. Yeah, so there might be some minor spoilers here for the Book of Rust, so apologies if you do want to read it. Just mute the chat for like 2 minutes. But demons are involved in that. So it wouldn't surprise me if Be'lakor, maybe his rules perhaps, would feature in the next Warzone carried on book. Potentially. That seems the kind of the easiest way to bring his rules out while they're waiting for a Demon Codex. So yeah, definitely an option. Right, we've done him. We've got 2 skinks with shields, I feel. So we'll highlight the scales on these. Then yeah, I reckon guys, by the end of the stream we'll have done a big chunk of this, finish off the bases, and then they should be ready to hit the battlefield. Not bad progress, I don't feel. It's looking okay. And then we've got this guy who's got a shield. I'm kind of torn on the feathers as well, so I don't know if you can see that very well. What I've done is painted them yellow over the original blue. So there's still some green elements coming through, we've got some of the yellow, and then I've put an orange wash over it all. So we've got a bit of a combination of colour. I'm thinking I might feather in a bit of, I don't know, blue or green or something into them, maybe a bit of red. I might run another glaze over it, maybe just to tint it a little bit. We'll have a play with that. On the cover art, what they've done is kind of like a transition from green, yellow through green to blue, something like that. Which looks really cool, but yeah, I don't want to ruin the feathers basically, because I'm quite happy with how they're looking. I think they just need a little bit of something else. That's looking okay. And then I think we've got some red somewhere else, haven't we? Where have we got red? Ah, yeah. This guy's kind of a thing around his neck. So I'll just, apologies if I'm a little bit quiet here, just doing a fiddly bit. Also apologies if you can't see much here as well. I'm just carefully giving these a little bit of a highlight of the next red colour up. I really should have stuck these on a paint holder or something. I've got corks and citadel handles all over the shop, and I've been painting these for 3 days now without attaching them. Alright, he's looking pretty good. I'm happy with him. So that's good. There's a few little bits at the tip of this headdress. I just need a little bit of yellow as well, so we'll do that now and just pop those colours in. And then really, we're starting to look all right. We need to highlight all the stones. That'll be the stone on the Saurus Warrior and on the bases. So what I might do is do the yellow, do that, and then I think we might be able to call it a day there. Let that dry, finish off the bases tomorrow, and jobs are good. So for this yellow, what I did is took some of this yellow, and then I added some Water Plus just to thin it down a little bit. And again, it kind of acts a bit like a contrast paint. There we go. That looks fine. Just use that to make sure the tips of those feathers are painted. Oops. And again, like I said earlier, we'll probably pop another wash or glaze or something in just to add a bit of transition to those feathers as well. Okay, right, he's looking alright. So we'll do a quick little roll call, see how the other ones are looking. This guy needs a tad more yellow, I feel. So how's everyone else's painting going tonight? Have we had a successful night / morning with the old paintbrush? Yeah, I think I'm going to be there's a spot on the back there. I'm going to be a bit of a predicament once I've done these, because I'll kind of want to paint some more Seraphon. What we need is some kind of bespoke Warcry warbands. That'd be cool. You know what? I might pick up the Seraphon Blood Bowl team. So, you know, obviously one of the reasons why I wasn't too keen on doing a Seraphon army is some of the models were a bit old. But obviously the Seraphon Blood Bowl team is absolutely gorgeous, and there's similar stylings to these. Dave is editing, painting Nope. Might do 10 minutes. Blood Bowl team. Ace. Oh, pardon me. And Bertimo nearly finished the Troggoth. Excellent. That's good going. He's got no yellow on him. Of course, there was one skink that I put down. Was it him? This guy here. Again, I don't know what's up with this Stegodon Scale Green. It just... I don't know if the initial coat I'd done was a bit too thinned, maybe. It seems to be pulling back, which I'd expect from a contrast paint, but not this. So maybe I just haven't mixed it very well. It just doesn't seem to be sticking to the model very well today. And what I need to do is put some agitators in all these pots, because they do mix a lot better then. What I'm going to do is not thin it and just splodge it on there. There we go. Cool. Right, that should be any white bits covered on these scales. Don't know why I've had such an issue with those scales. no issues normally with those paints, so how very strange. So yeah, I think last job we'll do before we finish is just highlighting the grey. So we've got the grey kind of stone areas on his crest, and there's kind of some stone areas on his kind of leg guards there. and then we'll just go around and start highlighting some of the details on these bases. And then, yeah, I think we're nearly at the point then where we can give the rims another coat. I give them a quick go around with black, but obviously as I've been handling them tonight, some of that paint's come off, so touch those up a little bit. We'll put some flock on the bases. So I want to have some kind of like moss growing on this tree for the chameleon skink, and we get some bits of kind of flock and moss and stuff on the bases of these, and then I think we're in a pretty good position then. Not a bad night's work, I don't think. So this again will add a drop of Water Plus just to help it flow. There we go, that's looking alright. And we'll just do some highlights on these, just some sharp highlights on the edges. Now on the Games Workshop kind of stock art, they've done some cool like chips and stuff in here, which would be really cool to do. I'm not doing that at the minute. I'm just going to get these highlights in and then call in there. Yeah, this is quite a battle ready paint job here. You can really go to town with these models. I've seen some really some cool jobs done on these, so yeah, if you enjoy painting, the Warband's worth picking up just for that. Okay, that's looking okay. So then what I'm going to do is just highlight some of the rocks and stuff on the base. Just thin that to a nice consistency, and yeah, we'll pick out some of the bigger rocks. Really just the sharp edges on some of these, again just to give that kind of like 3D effect. There are some like snakes and stuff on some of these bases and skulls. Post stream I'll probably go back and just paint those in, just to get the the full effect for them. But it's not really taken us too long. We streamed for a couple of hours on Sunday to get the base colours down. We streamed for a couple of hours tonight. I did work on them a little bit yesterday. Again, just a couple of hours. So if you are interested in dabbling in Warhammer Underworlds, I think the fact you've only got a handful of models, and some of the warbands have only got 4 models, so yeah, it's a nice little side project. I've enjoyed doing it. Chris, I've managed to wash and paint the rim of one base in between doing paperwork, but this stream has kept me sane while I type, so 2 thumbs up. Well, I'm glad that you've enjoyed it and we've managed to keep you sane while you've been doing paperwork. I know paperwork isn't the most fun thing in the world to do. So yeah, I'm glad that we've managed to entertain you a little bit. Thanks for joining us. So like I say, we have a regular stream on a Sunday, 7 till 9 UK time. But I am toying with doing a couple of midweek streams as well. So yeah. Steve, finishing of the Marine, got to go now. When are you on next? So realistically, probably Sunday. I think Sunday and Tuesday might be good days for the stream. If I do get another unscheduled cheeky stream in, I will stick it up on Twitter and Facebook. But yeah, I think that's the plan. Stream on a Tuesday and a Sunday, I think. And hopefully these guys will be done by the time I'm on next, and we'll be painting something different. So any requests in the chat of what you want to see me paint, I've got all sorts. Necromunda Ogres, Necromunda Escher. We've got some Van Saar that we're thinking of doing in a metallic purple colour scheme. There's Slanesh stuff, there's Daughters of Cain stuff. So yeah, reel off a model. I've already got it in the collection somewhere. I can start painting that. I'd love to know what you'd like to watch me paint, rather than me just painting what's in my collection. Dave says Mechanics of Underworlds is mint too. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's a really fun game to. It's a really fun game to play. We were saying earlier in the stream that it's a really nice game to play for a group of friends as well, because you can play it multiplayer. And we've had some cracking multiplayer games of it, haven't we, Dave? Obviously, at the minute that's a little bit difficult for people, but yeah, I'm sure at some point we'll be able to play Warhammer Underworlds in person. In fact, if you get this month's White Dwarf test vampire, I haven't got a vampire model to paint. I did someone say ogres? I do actually have an ogre I need to paint as well, Andy. The tyrant out of Feast of Bones. So yeah, I could paint an ogre or some Necromunda ogrins. That's definitely an option. But yeah, I haven't got a test vampire. I did used to have the there was a special edition standard bearer with a kind of flayed man banner, and I don't know where it is. If I can find it in a box somewhere, I might paint it up. Cheers, Steve. Thanks for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed the stream. Yeah, if we can find that vampire, I might paint them up. I really hope that Curse City is up for pre-order in the next few weeks, because yeah, I'll be all over that. I mean, that one box should keep me entertained for a while. Bertimo, that tyrant is amazing. Would recommend. Yeah, it's really nice. I painted. I think when the Ogre book came out, I painted up enough stuff to make my list work with some options. But I already had a tyrant from the old metal one, so I never bothered painting the new one. But I should paint him up. Dave says treat yourself to Manfred. Amazing mini, second only to Arkan. Manfred is an option. I favour Neferata as a model. OG vampire. The only thing that puts me off those the Mortarks, stylistically, do they stand up to the new vampire stuff that we've seen? Especially if we do get a new zombie dragon or blood dragon or something. So we'll see. There is a start collecting box that comes with the skeleton horseman, some skeletons, and a Mortark. That could be an option of picking up. I know the skeletons are getting replaced, but you know, skeletons are skeletons, aren't they? Chris, I've got an old Imperial Knight to get on with building, so I can get at it with the airbrush. I think the Sunday live stream is good, and excuses ended to get some time building. Do it, yeah, absolutely. We'd love to see you there, and yeah, get that knight built. I've been working on and off on a knight force for a long time, and to be fair, it's nearly done. I've got one more knight that needs painting, and I've got an armour jet that needs building. And then yeah, I'm up and running then. So I might join you with some Imperial Knight work. I'm also tempted to do a Chaos Knight force at some point as well. Just we chatting for battle report purposes. Obviously, at the minute, for the last year really, we've not been able to do any battle reports. And now we've got the stream set up. I can get about 3 cameras on this table and have some nice kind of different shots. We can do some battle reports. So that's the master plan, and between us, I think there's only 2 or 3 40k armies that we haven't actually got, one of which is Imperial Knights, so I might have to make amends there and put together a force. We're thinking a lot of like Crusade content, stuff like that. If you've seen any of our older videos, we did tend to film and edit battle reports, but the problem is that it's so time consuming, where we could just stream it live and you get it raw. You know, it's not as slickly edited and, you know, nice titles and everything, but it's yeah, you get the, I suppose, the live real game there and then, and the advantage that we can chat to you guys at the same time. So that's the plan. Let us know what you think, if that's something that sounds interesting or you'd watch. So right, so I think we're at a point there where I need these guys to dry, and then yeah, finish with the bases, and we should be pretty good. So seeing how the schedule is tomorrow, if I have got a chance, I might be able to jump on and finish off the model tomorrow. If not, I'll show you the finished models next time I'm on. And then yeah, if you are following us over on Twitter, give us a shout. Let us know what you want us to paint. Any suggestions, and I can certainly add it to the list. I've got a load of Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff as well, so if anyone is interested in that, then yeah, let us know and I'll paint up some. So yeah, I think we'll call it there today, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. It's been great chatting to you all on the stream today. And yeah, until next time, we'll see you all later. Bye!